Hey, gorgeous, and welcome to, pardon me, we're starting already, the Multi-Passionate Edge, and it's our weekly live stream here with your host, Cheryl Pullins, and it's all, excuse me, and it's all about helping multi-faceted women rise to their greatness and turn their passions into riches. That's a whole nother story behind how I finally got here. But hey, Dr. Angel, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us live here on the live stream. So, if you've watched these a few times, I always start with this little ditty right here. This little ditty right here. What's this little ditty right here? It's lipstick. It's lipstick. And because people always ask the question, what lipstick are you wearing? All right, so we're gonna get this out the way real quick. And this is my gorgeous Lancome. It's a Lancome lipstick. And I love the little thingy here. Hold on, I gotta move this because it's blocking me. All right. This little thingy here, and I love, look at that. Look at this. You just pop it at the top, it pops out, and boom, look at this gorgeous color. Look at that gorgeous color. Okay, this is color number 122. This is Lancome, and I actually have an opening box opening video or whatever I did. I'll post that soon. But that's what I'm wearing today, number 132 from Lancome. I bought this during National Lipstick Day. Awesome. So, welcome everybody. Hey, Deneen, good to see you. Welcome. Listen, today's topic is hot. It is hot, and I'm telling you. So let me give you a little backstory, and then we're going to jump into it, okay? So the backstory is last week, I have no idea what I was doing and how I got to this perspective. And so I wrote a post, and you could go to my Facebook page and you can see the post, and it says, Imposter syndrome is really cognitive dissonance. Yeah, I wrote that. And I did not know about the firestorm that I was going to create. And I don't mean firestorm from like a bad standpoint. I mean, it just sparked a really amazing conversation that I still have to go back to and go through all the comments because you guys lit it up. That one post had over 100 comments. Yeah. So to me, that said something to me. And what it said to me, it didn't say anything to me about, oh, I had over 100 comments. That's not what it said. What it said was, this is a very relevant conversation. It's a relevant topic. And I would be totally remiss or blind if I didn't come and talk about this up front and personal. So what it made me do, it made me go back and really craft a real perspective around this thought. Because what I posted was like a thought. It was a thought. I don't remember even what I was doing or how I got there, but to get to the place where, for someone who's been teaching and talking about imposter syndrome, to going, wait a minute, hold on. Let's look at what this really is. And I'll say one of the things that I know God has gifted me in, he's gifted me in the ability to see beyond the surface. I don't know why, and I don't know where. I do know why, but he's really given me the ability to look at something and go, okay, I see that, but let's flip it over. Let's go deeper. Most people want to stay on the surface. I am not she. I want to get down to the root, to what's really going on. And that's what happened with this idea, this perspective around imposter syndrome that I had been talking about, that I've been wearing proudly with a badge of honor, that, that I have imposter syndrome, and it's keeping me from living my dreams. Okay, back it up a minute. Let's back it up a minute. So you might be asking yourself the question, okay, it's like, I don't even know what you're talking about when you say imposter syndrome. Like, what is it? So I'm not going to be heavy on the imposter syndrome part. So I'm just going to kind of skirt it a little bit in terms of what it means. So the textbook, if you will, kind of definition of imposter syndrome is the inability to believe that your success is deserved or legitimately achieved. That's pretty much what imposter syndrome is. Basically, it's saying, I'm going to say that definition again. It is the inability to believe that your success is achieved, is deserved, or legitimately achieved. Okay. This is the story we've been telling ourselves. This is the craziness that's been coming out of our mouths about ourselves. And what we've been saying. Let me tell you what we've been affirming and confirming and declaring out of our mouths, that what we've been co-signing, okay? Let me tell you what we've been co-signing. We've been co-signing that we are incompetent, unqualified, and that we're a fraud. What? What? We've been co-signing by us proudly declaring that we have imposter syndrome. We are co-signing that we are incompetent, unqualified, and a fraud. Really? Is that what you're doing? Is that what you believe? Come on. Let's have some, I'm all about the real talk, right? Let's have some real talk. Do you really believe that you're unqualified? The answer would be no. I'll answer for you. Do you really believe that you are incompetent? No, I'll answer that one for you too. No. Do you really, really believe that you are a fraud? No. Not when it comes to your expertise, your knowledge, your skill. You are none of those things. But this idea of imposter syndrome sounds sexy. It sounds sexy. It sounds like the in thing to be, right? It's not. Not when you really turn it over and look at what it really means, and look at what you've been co-signing and confessing and affirming and declaring about who you are. You're none of those things. You're not incompetent. You don't even believe that. You're not unqualified. You don't believe you're unqualified. And you definitely don't believe that you're a fraud. So I've had some imposter like experiences. I'll say that, imposter like experiences, and not from the standpoint that I believed or thought any of those things. I didn't believe that I was incompetent. I didn't believe that I was unqualified. I didn't believe that I was a fraud. That was none of what I believed. I'm going to tell you now what it really is. And this is, I believe, it's going to make more sense. And I believe that from this perspective, that it's more the understanding of what I'm about to share with you is more transformational than talking about imposter syndrome. Because I've come to the conclusion it's a total lie, period. I don't care what anybody says. That's my perspective. And what's one of the things I teach you about developing your personal brand, about crafting and creating your personal brand? Step into your own unique perspective on things. Stop the groupthink, right? Stop the groupthink. If you discover a perspective that is totally different from the rest of the world, go for it. And I know I'm not the only one, right? That has this perspective that imposter syndrome is a lie. I believe it was April Franks. I believe I saw her say she's been teaching this since forever. And I love it. But my ability to discover this just through my own thought process and really, really go searching and looking and going, okay, well, this don't make sense. But then discovering what really happens to us. And that's what I'm going to share with you. So if you're watching this right now, share this out. Share this video out. You want people in your community, in your network, in your sphere of influence. You want them to know this. You want them to know this. Hey, Coach Janice, good to see you. Hey, Cheryl, great to see you. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this out. Share this live out. This is something that you want people to know because it has the power to transform their lives for real. Okay. Of course, transformation doesn't come through information. It comes through implementation, but that's a whole nother story. Okay. All right. So what is it? What is it? You're like, Cheryl, okay, imposter syndrome is a lie. Then what's the truth? Well, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. And it's really what I posted last week that said imposter syndrome is really what we really faced with is a psychological term. Now they're saying that imposter syndrome is a psychological term. But what I'm about to tell you really truly is a psychological term. There's a whole discourse on it. And it's cognitive dissonance. Girl, Cheryl, what are you talking about? It's cognitive dissonance. Now let me give you let me just give you a little bit of backstory on me. When I decided to go to college for real, like for real, when I really knew what I wanted to do, I was a psychology major. I fell in love with psychology when I took a psychology class. And my professor was a Black woman, and she was a clinical psychologist. And her teaching on psychology opened up something in my spirit that really leaped. And ever since that experience, I've always pursued the discipline of psychology. So when I started digging into this idea of why, hear me now, why are successful women that have success in different areas of their lives, why are they so plagued, right, with not reaching some of their goals, their big goals? So it could be money goals, it could be business goals, financial goals, lifestyle goals. What is happening? Why are women hiding? Why are women afraid of visibility? Why are women afraid to ask for a certain amount of money? You can ask someone to pay you $100. You can even ask someone to pay you $1,000, but you cannot fix your lips to tell somebody that you have an offer and that offer costs $25,000. You can't do it. Why do we reach these thresholds or these limits that we can't get beyond? I'm going to tell you why. Cognitive dissonance. You're like, all right, Cheryl, what does this mean? So let me tell you. I'm going to tell you in very layman's terms what cognitive dissonance is. Hey, Latanya Graham, good to see you, gorgeous. I'm going to tell you what cognitive dissonance is. Taking notes? Okay. It's real simple. And I think when I say this, you're going to identify with these two statements that I'm going to make. Cognitive dissonance is a lack of agreement within yourself. It is an internal inconsistency. Cognitive dissonance is a lack of agreement within yourself. It is internal inconsistency. Let's open this up a little bit more. You tracking? Let me know in the comments if you're tracking. Now, Cheryl says, in the words of Medea, spell it, please. Spell dissonance, cognitive. So cognitive, the word cognitive. Okay, you know, cognitive has to do with your thinking. Cognitive, right? Can someone type cognitive? If you know how to spell it, can someone type cognitive in the comments so people can see? And then I'll spell dissonance. The dissonance is DISSONANCE. Okay, DISSONANCE. Thank you, Latanya. Thank you very much. So Latanya's put it in the comments. Cognitive dissonance. Okay, what do we say? What did we say it was? It's a lack of agreement within yourself. It's an internal inconsistency. I know I done stepped on some toes already just by using the word inconsistent. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Now, we're going to open it up a little bit more. There are two main types of cognitive dissonance. There are two main types of cognitive dissonance. There's a public cognitive dissonance. There is a personal cognitive dissonance. I'm not going to get too much into the public because I really want to drop into the personal, because the personal cognitive dissonance is where we are really, really challenged. Okay. And where it really shows up. So the personal, this is when dissonance occurs within an individual's thoughts, feelings, or attitudes. Personal cognitive dissonance is when dissonance occurs within an individual's thoughts, feelings, or attitudes. And I'm going to add action. I'm going to add actions as well, because we know thoughts, feelings, and all that contributes to your actions. All right. There are two types. Remember, I said two types: personal, public. We're focused on personal. And personal is when dissonance occurs within an individual's thoughts, feelings, attitudes, actions. If we connect that, remember we talked about lack of agreement and internal consistency. You're dealing with personal dissonance. You have a lack of agreement between your thoughts, your feelings, your attitudes, your actions, and I would venture to say even your beliefs. There's a lack of agreement between those things, and that's all happening right here on the inside of you. So in the coaching world, we hear the term incongruent. Incongruent. That's the word we hear all the time, right? But let's make it real. And making it real means you're out of agreement with yourself. Being out of agreement from a biblical perspective, I didn't even know I was going to go here. Being out of agreement from a biblical perspective is being double minded. Who said that? Who said that? Being out of agreement with yourself makes you a double minded person. Gulp. You are in disagreement with yourself. Being in disagreement with yourself and having this internal inconsistency, or in the coach world term, this being incongruent, right, is wreaking havoc over you, your business, your dreams, and everything else attached to you. Now, how does this look in everyday life? How does this look in everyday life? And there are 3 types of everyday life cognitive dissonance that I want you to make note of. And we're only going to focus on one. We're only going to focus on one because this is so vast. This is so deep. This is so transformative. There's so much here. This is like a whole day. I'm telling you, this is a whole day. This is a whole day, at least a few hours, right? And I'm actually breaking this up because I want to lay out the problem first. I want to lay it out. And then I'm going to give you some time to really let that marinate. And then we're going to come back next week. And then I'm going to give you some solutions because, I never give a problem without solutions, right? But for today, I really want to focus on the problem because I want you to see the vastness of this cognitive dissonance, this personal cognitive dissonance that is wreaking havoc over you and your dreams. It's wreaking havoc over who God says you are. God says you're the head and not the tail. You come above and not beneath. You come beneath. You come behind and no good thing. Everything you put your hands to shall prosper. But because of your personal cognitive dissonance, you're out of agreement with that. While you read it in the scripture, right? You think it, right? But you don't believe it. And we know that because the level of your action is based on the level of your belief. So what are the 3 types? What are the 3 types of this everyday life cognitive dissonance? The first one is effort justification. Effort justification. Again, I'm not going to dig into these. I'm only going to dig into one, and we're going to dig into the last one. But this effort justification, that's justifying. Basically, it's justifying your effort. Why are you doing what you're doing and having the need to justify? Why are you setting boundaries and having to justify why you're setting boundaries and then having the need to justify why you're setting the boundaries? You're setting the boundaries because you need to set the boundaries. Okay. So that's the first type of how personal cognitive dissonance shows up in everyday life. The second is self-attribution. Now, I didn't make the note totally about what that meant, so I'm gonna have to come back with that one in terms of what self-attribution means. I can't really remember, and I didn't write it down, but that's fine because what I really want you to really look at is this third one I'm going to give you. And the third one is social comparison. Ha! Woo! Yes, Lord. Social comparison is the third type of personal cognitive dissonance based on everyday life. Everyday life personal cognitive dissonance shows up. One of the ways it shows up as social comparison. What is social comparison? I probably don't need to tell you this because I'm sure you already know, but let's keep the same theme going where I'm teaching you. Social comparison is when people compare themselves to other people to see where they stand in relative to them. Social comparison is when people compare themselves to other people to see where they stand in relative to them, but not only to see where they stand, but also base their value on what they see from someone else. So you overlook your own value, your own expertise, your own experiences, your own skills, your own knowledge, your own fabulousness. You overlook your own fabulousness to compare yourself to someone else. And because of what you see from the other person, you have now deemed your fabulousness in with of no value, of no real value. Cognitive dissonance in everyday life shows up as social comparison, where you're looking at someone else and deeming yourself to be of lesser value because of what you see from them. Negating your own experiences, negating your own knowledge, negating your own expertise, negating your brilliance. This is not about being an imposter. This is not about being fake. This is not about any of those things. This is about you being in disagreement with your own self about who you are. And it's triggered by social comparison. So you compare yourselves amongst yourselves. And in that comparison, you deem that what you bring to the table is not of significant value. So as a result of that, you withhold it. You keep your mouth shut. You don't show up. And this is destroying the very dreams that you said you want. The aspirations you have, the goals that you have are being dismantled by cognitive dissonance. And that dissonance shows itself on a daily basis in multiple ways. But one of the biggest ways is through social comparison. We sit on social media and we scroll and we scroll and we scroll. And every time we see somebody doing something that we know we should be doing in our own way, we're triggered. And we're triggered in a way that we now feel like what we offer isn't needed. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that because she's already doing it. So and so is already doing this. So and so is already doing that. It's already enough people out here talking about this and doing that. What in the world does that have to do with you and what God placed on the inside of you? Absolutely nothing. He gave it to you for a reason. You have the message for a reason. You have the mission for a reason. You have the purpose for a reason. You have the idea for a business, for a brand, for a book, for a course, for a program, for a reason. And it has nothing to do with what they are doing out there. But because you are cognitively dissonant, because you are in, what did I say? Because you lack agreement, because you are in disagreement with yourself, because you are double-minded about who you are and why you were created and why God has you here for such a time as this. Because of that, the world doesn't get to experience the true brilliance of who you are. The world doesn't get to experience those witty ideas, those inventions that God placed on the inside of you, those concepts, those ideals. The world doesn't get to experience that. The world doesn't get to experience the beauty and magnificence of your brilliance. The world doesn't get to experience, the quirkiness of your personality, and how, because of your personality and how God designed you and the message He gave you, it hits different and it's delivered different because it's coming from you. But the people that need it from you aren't hearing it from you, aren't getting it from you, because you're not even showing up, because you're so far in your head, you are in such disagreement with yourself that you're not even showing up. And on that note, now here, let me say this, and I say it all the time. Anytime I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. It's just plain and simple. I don't ever leave myself out of it. I did not have this realization just for me, though. I had it to share with you, because I work with a lot of women. I've been doing this. I've been working with women for the last 13 years. I know what's going on inside the minds and hearts of women that want to change the world, but aren't stepping into it. I know what that looks like. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to scroll social media and get triggered by people, seeing people doing amazing, wonderful, fabulous things. And I know that I'm equipped, I'm skilled, I have the expertise to bring it myself. I'm not going to say do the same thing, because you're never doing the same thing. That's totally you're never doing the same thing, because the way you do it is totally different from the way someone else is going to do it anyway. But I know what it feels like to have this cognitive dissonance about who you are. I know what it feels like to have this lack of agreement within myself. I know what it feels like to know for sure, for certain, that you have the power to transform people's lives, but you play small. You play small. Why? Because of because of some of those fears that I talked about before. Fear of failure, the fear of what other people want to think or say, the fear of the unknown. And Lord Jesus, don't lay those money blocks and beliefs on top of it, right? And you put all of that in the aggregate, no wonder, no wonder you're in a vicious cycle. You're in a vicious cycle, and it's time to come out. It's time to come out. It's time to come out of the vicious cycle. And I'm going to say this, and then we're going to close for today, and I'll be back next week where we're going to talk about some real solutions for helping you with this. Let me say this to you, and it is in the utmost level of love and compassion that I have for you as a multifaceted woman who wants to change the world. As a multifaceted woman that wants to step into her greatness and transform her passions or turn her passions into riches. The multifaceted woman that wants to create a personal brand and she wants to leverage that to build wealth and create legacy. Let me say this to you in all love. New photos ain't going to change it. Sometimes people reach out to me and they talk to me because they want to work with me. And once we have the conversation, of course, once I tell them the investment, not too long after that, I see new photo shoot images come across social media. That's not the answer. The answer is doing this work. The answer is having real, tough conversations with yourself about yourself. That's the answer. The answer is not a new logo. That's not the answer. The answer is not a new website. That is not the answer. Those are results of the work you've done. When you've come face to face with yourself and you've had these hard conversations and you're asking yourself, why isn't this working? Why am I not living the life that I know I should be living? Why am I not making the money I should be? Why does my bank account look like this foolishness right here? When you do what I did, when you flip it on its head and you start to examine what's underneath, it looks different. You could do photo shoots all day long. That's the shiny, that's the bright and shiny. That's like taking a car, like taking a car that might be a couple years old, and you take that car and you get it all spit shined and pretty, and you wash that engine down, you put on new tires, you might even give it a paint job, and it is sparkling, beautiful, clean. You drive it out, you get a mile away, and that joker breaks down because something under the hood ain't right. Something under the hood is totally out of alignment. Something under the hood is not in agreement with the rest of the operating system that's under that hood. So while your photo shoots are fabulous, your website is hitting. What else you got? What's going on in here? What's happening here? What kind of work have you done that's now put you in total agreement with yourself about who you are, about who God says you are, about why you're here in this world, about what your mission is, about what your purpose is, And what actions do you need to take that line up with that? If you haven't done that work, if you haven't done the work of really understanding why you're not making money, or why you can't ask people for a certain amount of money, or why you choke when you go to say $5,000, if you haven't done that work, you're not going to get the results that you want from a photo shoot and a website and a new brand. Because the brand is really a reflection of what's going on inside. So it's not cliche when we talk about branding yourself from the inside out. There's truth to that. And that's what I leave with you today. Yep, imposter syndrome is a lie. But what you're walking out is cognitive dissonance about who you are. And it's showing up. One of the ways it's showing up is social comparison, and it's wreaking havoc over you, your brand, your business, your dreams, your bank account. So next week, we'll be back. And we're going to keep this conversation going. And we're going to talk about solutions, real solutions, things, ways that you can help, ways that you can confront and deal with this. So you can really begin to walk in the fullness of who God created you to be in this world, because the world needs you. The world needs you, your personality, your skill, your knowledge, your expertise, your quirks, all the things that make you you. The world needs them. And I'm here to guide you and to help you to step into your greatness, to rise to your greatness. All right. I like to look at the comments. So let's get to looking at the comments and see what's happening here. And I've been talking for a minute, but I like to stay focused when I'm teaching. And but I want to honor those of you that are here commenting. Dr. Angel was here earlier, and she said, "Hey, Deneen, thank you so much." She said, "Good morning." Coach Janice was here, and she says, "Hey, Coach." She says, "Good stuff. Be unique." Cheryl says, "Good afternoon." Good afternoon. Latanya, a lack of agreement within yourself. Whoa. Yes. Whoa is right, honey. And then she posted the term cognitive dissonance. And thank you, someone else, Shelly, she posted about cognitive dissonance. Thank you for watching from LinkedIn. I appreciate that. Cognitive dissonance being a lack of agreement within yourself. Woo, ciao. And Cheryl says internal inconsistency. And Latanya shared there are two types of cognitive dissonance: personal, public, and personal. And thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl, for your comment as well. And personal cognitive dissonance is when dissonance occurs in your thoughts, feelings, attitudes, actions, and I also added beliefs. And she said, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for the reactions. I know those are reactions, but she also said she flatlines. And Latanya Graham, which means we are unstable, and that was talking about being double-minded. And she posted the scripture. Thank you for posting the scripture. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. If you don't understand it, make sure you watch this whole video and you'll see what we're talking about. And then Cheryl, really, look. Would you look at this? He says, "You are bringing it so real." Yes. Thank you. Love you for it. Thank you. I love you too. All caps. Amen. I think Cheryl just went to church on us. Oh gosh. And she declared that she's even more, she declares even more transformation over her life, period, going forward. Amen. I'm in agreement with you on that. And this is funny. She says, you need to be Dr. Cheryl A. Pullins. That's funny because there are people that call me that. And I actually had to say to someone, I actually don't have a doctorate. And she had me on a flyer as Dr. Cheryl Pullins. And I don't want people to ever think that I'm trying to be something that I am not. And I don't have evidence of. And but a lot of people do call me Dr. Cheryl. I have no idea why, but maybe you guys could tell me. Thank you so much, Latanya, for sharing this. For more juicy goodness, yes, juicy goodness. Join the Iconic Woman Club by clicking the link there that she provided. Jaria, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Awesome. I'm glad this was helpful for you. And Denise says, true. Latanya says, ain't no, yes, ain't. New photos, logos, website gonna make a difference unless you do the self work. You got it. You got it. Latanya also says, thank you. And then she says, well said. You're not, well said, you're not. Well, who said you're not Dr. Cheryl? Oh. Well, who said you're not? Dr. Cheryl. Okay. All right. I told you, you guys, you tell me. Thank you so much for watching today. Make sure you go to Iconic Woman Club. I tell you, I'm so excited. I got to slow myself down because I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Go to iconicwomanclub.com. Get on the, become a part of the email community there. I'm telling you, we are about to set it off. I have so much that I am really, really excited about. I'm doing plans with, I'm hosting my first live event in 6 years. That's happening in November. If you want to get the details, go to iconicwomanclub.com. I'll be sending those out, inviting you. It's a very limited event. It's boardroom style, and of the 12 seats, only 8 seats are left. And I haven't even made it totally public. But we're going to start there. That's going to be like the kickoff for the Iconic Woman Club and everything that's going to be going on for the rest of the year and going into 2024 and 2025. So thank you so much for joining me today. Be sure to come back next week so we can keep this conversation going. And it's no longer the conversation is going to be about imposter syndrome being a lie, but we're going to talk about solutions and ways that you can walk through dealing with cognitive dissonance about who you are and this idea of social comparison. So I look forward to seeing you next week. In the meantime, go to iconicwomanclub.com and I'll see you again real soon. Much love. Bye. Mwah.